Okay, we're live, so you have the floor now.
Okay, so we're really excited to present what we've discovered about analytics and developing predictive models in a corporate environment for fun and profit. Matt and I started working on this project at the beginning of the semester after we both shift. Well, actually, Matt's been consistent on this for a while. He's very invested in the concept. I, on the other hand, I was working on a couple of different capstone projects, and we picked this up together at the beginning of the semester. So we're basically the project that we developed is oriented at being able to catch customers before they slip through the cracks. If you have, a handful of sales reps and thousands of customers, it's very difficult to maintain a personal relationship with them all, and that's where CRM is supposed to be useful. Well, we're trying to bridge the gap between basically having the good intuition of a good sales representative with CRM, but predicting when customers are going to need to reorder. But as part of that, we also need to explore most of this semester, which we're going to lovingly title Misadventures with Matt and Brent. So this is our team. I think everyone in here knows us. Matt and I, we decided at Matt's recommendation, we were going to look at doing an integration with a company called ProGuard, which is a pest control company Matt's going to talk about real quick.
Yeah, so our original capstone idea, as we had presented last semester, was to actually take information gathered from sales reps on the doors. So when they knock a door, do they answer, did they buy, did they not, etc. And then combine that with demographic data, run it through an algorithm to figure out, what are the best geographic areas that sales reps should actually go to in order to make, or I guess, maximize revenues. Mm-hmm. And it was very promising. We had pretty much everything lined up for it. And then this semester, when we contacted the owner of ProGuard, who had previously expressed his interest and support of this project, we found out that he had gotten a little paranoid over the target hacks. And he thought, he told us actually verbatim, if a company as large as Target can get hacked, then how can you keep my information secure?
It proved to be a bit of an uphill battle to convince him that we're not Target. They're very different threat models that you're dealing with there. Yeah. But all things considered, it ended up being a no-go with ProGuard, and it took us several weeks of back and forth with him to finally decide that it was fruitless. So
yeah, and so after that was done, we tried to delve into some other options. One of the options actually that came up was some other alternative that would be super similar to this project, and that was using demographics data paired with political, I guess, data repositories, combine that to figure out where swing voters are, and then that way campaign managers can know where to target their efforts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a project that I did some consulting for a couple of years ago in telephony, not so much in business intelligence. And they've got a political campaign platform that kind of fits a similar niche. It's focused on grassroots efforts. However, as we explored the problem with the people that were involved, it was kind of meta. There were a lot of politics involved with the politics of politic tools. And there were some concerns in that regard about whether this was something that was really viable. The other half of it, of course, is also predicting voter sentiment, which if you could crack that nut, then I think you could get a Nobel Prize. So we decided that that was probably not a viable option as well. So from there, we said, well, let's take a look at the common denominator, which was census information. And we actually made some pretty good progress in exploring census data. I actually had some communication recently with, as I was just mentioned in passing, some of the work that we've been doing, someone that had done a lot of work in demography for his PhD. And it was agreed that census information is both wildly useful and extremely difficult to actually work with. Census files are very difficult in terms of the way they're structured. They make sense for storage and distribution, but for actual analysis, they're very painful. And so we started exploring the potential of taking those files and creating a process whereby they could be moved into a data warehouse where you could actually do sensible SQL-like queries on census information. We also decided that we would be probably pulling our hair out if we tried to go through that process, just because of how tedious it would be mapping individual cells from these obtuse files into data warehouses. And however useful that would be, we weren't really prepared to sacrifice ourselves on the altar of accessible census data. So that, we ended up kind of going in circles with a lot of these things, and it was really frustrating. This is the picture of Matt and I at our mid-semester presentation, because we were both very distressed about how things were going, because we'd been genuinely working towards analyzing this. We had some schema diagrams set up for how we could do the data warehouse. We had some different things worked out with the other projects, but it ended up being very frustrating trying to nail in on this. And then finally we realized that I work at Blender Bottle and we have a treasure trove of data, and they ended up saying, yeah, let's work on a project and collaborate together. And so, this is, thank you. Okay. So we, I have access to that information. I'm not worried about target style hacks because I guess that's part of what I have to deal with anyway. So the risk, incremental risk and something like this was negligible. And so we said, great, let's work with our sales team and come up with something that we can work with. So this is what we've got. It revolves around forecasting customer purchasing patterns relative to the products that they're purchasing, and specifically the time that they're actually making those purchases. And Matt's been putting a lot of effort into making that analysis and coming up with a sensible model whereby we can actually predict with relatively high accuracy customer ordering patterns and the potential for those orders, including being able to maximize for not only likelihood of needing to order again, but also the revenue value, potential revenue value of that customer.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, we'll go through the demo of how it all works. But we have actually on the next slide, we have a high-level design of how we want this to work, which is actually similar in a lot of respects to our original project ideas. So we're actually pretty happy to stumble upon this. But basically taking data from our customer transactions and then loading those through some extraction processes to figure out, average length between order dates, the kind of items that customers are ordering, other things such as customer class. Are they a fitness gym? Are they a health shop? Are they something else? And taking all of these elements of data and then running those through an algorithm to figure out a number of useful predictors, such as, what is the statistical significance or probability that these customers are actually overdoing their ordering. So like they normally order every 72 days with a standard deviation of 5 days. Well, it's been 85 to 90 days since they've ordered. Something's probably wrong, and so let's reach out to them. We also planning on running through this through some clustering algorithms to figure out similar customer groups, so that we can automatically classify new customers in groups that we think are similar to them, so that from order one, we can already anticipate how long it should probably be until they order the next, and what kind of items they'll want, etc. And so we take all that, put them through the predictions, find out our t-stats, our probabilities, and then we actually send them right into our front-end application, which is basically an email queue.
Mm-hmm.
And so our sales reps, they'll get a list of, hey, this is our prioritized list of customers you should reach out to today. Click on this customer, it'll take you to an email template that's already pre-filled with information such as, this customer, hey, we figured we'd reach out, how are you doing? We figured these are the kind of items that you'd be looking for. Please let us know how we can help. And so, yeah, and we can actually go through a demo of that right now.
I'm used to Keynote's hotkeys. Here we go. Okay, awesome. So this right here is the front end to this is on our intranet. So that's what all these links and stuff are here. It's part of the intranet platform that we developed, and we've created a module within it that handles this customer outreach process. Right here we have a couple of sample customers that I've got loaded in the development environment, CrossFit Gym number 1, 2, 3 in Vitamin Land. In working with our sales reps and marketing, they identified that they believe this can have a huge impact on those accounts because they're smaller volumes. It's not like you'd use a tool like this with say at Walmart, right? You know, those are relationships you will cultivate, you know, as a sales representative by yourself. Whereas with these, it makes it so that we can have that custom interaction, that closer interaction with individual accounts without requiring the cognitive overhead of keeping track of literally thousands of customers. It's something that we have. We're currently working with about 6,000 different customers. And those are currently spread across about 5 sales representatives. So it's a pretty
high load.
Yeah, so they were really excited about the leverage potential with this. This right here is our outreach queue. You can open up individual accounts.
Is it just a coincidence that you both
Yeah, those are both email templates that I've got loaded right now. It's just the same. It's the same email template.
Oh, okay. So it's not like the one.
It will be in production right now, and just with the dummy data that I've got loaded in right here, because we don't have this fully loaded into the ERP system. It's only on my laptop right now.
But a couple. So we've got the major pieces in place, but since we only started working on this 3 weeks ago, we are still in the works of actually integrating all of these.
Yeah, I'm integrating the different queues and everything together.
Mostly front end and back end.
Yeah. But we do have the ability to be able to pull up the information. This right here provides some additional context. In talking with sales, they felt that being able to provide additional context in terms of recent orders placed, volumes, that would also be extremely helpful. And then we're able to see here that we have an individual email that's been generated by the system in the email queue that we can open up as it reaches through the VPN to Lehigh, Utah at the speed of light.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
It's amazing millisecond round trips, you know.
Yeah, this is something that I have not dialed into as much in our development process, but there we go. Okay, so this right here shows us on our dummy account. This is our fake sales representative for the account that I'm logged in as right now. To this particular person, we can edit this up. We can mess around with the subject line, all the other information that's available here. And as we prepare it, then we're able to make whatever adjustments we need to. And then, of course, the sales representative can fire that away. And once it does the round trip with Mars and back, then we figured that was the safest way to keep our servers safe, is to keep them on a colo site that's on a different
That's right,
planet.
way out there.
Disaster recovery policy. Anyway, but you get the idea. That's as it goes off to make that round trip, then it'll, message sent. So that right there is the gist of where we're at as far as the front end process is concerned. If we click back to this piece right here, we've got all this portion worked out, and Matt actually has the processing model. I think we actually have time to look at that if you want to take a look at the draft algorithm that's currently in Excel in VBA.
Yeah. So the majority of our predictive model is actually complete. Since I've been working with the data in Excel, it made sense to actually do the prototype in VBA. And then we will translate into the PHP backend. And so you can see here, what I've actually done is I've created the code to go through the roughly 86,000 transaction rows that we have and sift through them and find out for every customer when was the last time they ordered, the average length between orders. Where you see zeros, those are customers that have only ordered once. And so we have yet to cluster them and get a default value to put in there. Standard deviation, that's basically, average length between orders. It's really, for this first customer, it's, 71 to 75 days or so. The time since the last order has been 238 days. The significance of that is huge. Our T-stat is 77.55. And for those of you who are a little rusty on your statistics, anything that's over a T-stat of 2 is usually considered statistically significant. And so that tells us right there that, wow, we really need to fire an email off to this customer immediately. Reach out to them. Hey, did you just forget to order? There's something wrong that we can help with, maybe communications down. And so as we expand our model, we'll cluster the groups, we'll figure out the list of items that similar groups tend to like. We can expand this model out and then we'll translate that into the PHP backend, connect it to the front end, and that'll automatically fill in those email templates that you saw with, hey, we've noticed it's been, a long time, this many since you've ordered. That's not the norm. Would you like to order the things that you normally order? Or conversely, we found that customers that are in, customers similar to you have ordered these products. Would you like to do that? Just send us a quick yes, and we'd be happy to set that up for you.
Yeah. One of the things that we really looked at as well with this is we evaluated a number of the machine learning models that we studied in IS 555 with Dr. Dean. And one of the things that came to mind as we explored these options of, which model do we work with. I was in a CS class for machine learning as well this semester, and we studied a lot of things with recurrent neural networks and temporal, basically temporally oriented data. And one of the things that we realized is that while one of those models could be effective, the maintenance that would be involved in helping to train and maintain that system could actually end up outweighing the value of it, making it so that it could be somewhat brittle. At least we didn't have tools that we felt were effective enough to be able to make it so that it would be a self-sustaining, self-maintaining system. And so in identifying a relatively straightforward, statistics-oriented approach, we felt that that was not only going to give us a good enough result for making the predictions, but it would also provide us with a system that's a lot more easy to reason about and easier to maintain in the long run. So that's a lot of the reason that we ended up working with an approach like this, is that we did look at a couple of other different options and alternatives, and we found that this to be the most effective in terms of generating solid results that were consistent and reliable and maintainable, which was a huge.
Simple as bad.
Yeah, exactly. That was one of the huge things that we oriented around with this, because we said, gee, wouldn't it be great if we could do some really cool, Elman net that lets us take a look at all kinds of cool stuff and whatever, but.
At the end of the day, you got to explain to the sales guys why they should be.
Well, or why it's broken. Someone's going to have to make sure that it's maintained as customer tastes change over time, or as we have different patterns change. And if the system's not able to keep up with that effectively, that was something that was a really high unknown for us. And so we wanted to make sure that this was something that was really easy for us to dial into.
So when you implement this on the back end in PHP, do you implement actual, kind of fundamental rules such as, beta weights for an overall model, or do you simply say, you're implementing the algorithm that's taking the data, crunching it for each of the records, and then, so you don't have to go in and maintain the model?
Exactly. So the current plan is to take the same model that Matt just described in terms of the statistical analysis, but to combine it as well with exemptions for records and to downweight those t-values, or at least the records that are available for recent interactions that we've had. So instead of just providing a list of customers to contact using Outlooks directly, we're encouraging and requiring sales representatives to use that interface. So we know, they've deferred contacting this customer for a period of time because the customer requested it, or because it just is sensible. So that will cause the system to devalue that record for future selections, so they don't get recurring email templates generated.
Yeah, I think that's important, especially if you're in kind of this scheduled ordering and you realize, holy cow, I have a ton of inventory of blender bottle. I have X amount, call me back in 6 months instead.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's part of the approach that we're going to take as far as keeping track of when those interactions are, and then being able to combine those deferrals with the statistical analysis in order to come up with the correct way to handle that. So most of that model will be executed in SQL. We anticipate at this juncture it's currently in VBA manually running through the system as we do the development records. But once we've gotten that nailed in, it'll be a lot easier for us to translate that over.
Sure, to at least the initial calculations.
Yeah, exactly. So as far as lessons learned from this experience, because ultimately this is just as much a practical experience as it is an academic exercise. One of the things that was really interesting for us was just how paranoid ProGuard was with the whole target issue. We tried to demonstrate it in terms of like risk, reward, and analysis. And we're saying, look, no one's going to know that we have the data. We'll keep it encrypted. We'll do whatever it is that you want us to do. It's going to be best of class. In fact, Matt had some remarks about their existing security infrastructure and posture that were less than.
Yeah, we won't go into that. Let's just say they've got a lot more to worry about than us.
Yeah, than a couple of contractors. So project roadblocks. There were an awful lot of roadblocks along the way as far as analyzing different projects as we pivoted through this process. We didn't anticipate having quite nearly the complications that we've had, and we're really grateful when we were able to nail in on something that was executable that we could nail into with Blender Bottle. Even with Blender Bottle, though, in trying to get things sorted, my boss was very interested in bringing Matt on board, but the NDA process of bringing him on as a contractor was both a formality and a requirement in her eyes. And it turns out that HR deciding to have a baby, or at least getting into that process and taking time for legal stuff to get worked out. NDAs, it took a little while for her to feel comfortable with me making the release of the data to Matt and to the team.
Which is why we only started work on this about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Instead of like 2 months ago.
So, but I do feel like we've been able to make good progress, and we're actually going to be keeping Matt on board until he goes to Los Angeles for his full-time job in June to help us round out and finish out the project for Blender Bottle. So as far as next steps, I'm going to cover that right now.
Yeah, so next steps, as already mentioned, we got to translate the success we found in the VBA into PHP backend as well as the SQL queries that we'll be making. Got to generate the clustering algorithms for the similar customer groups, which we actually think will be the next biggest step to add value. This already, we feel, is a huge help for sales reps.
It will be, yeah. They've been salivating over just this piece.
Yep. Yeah, and actually, if I remember correctly, they had calculated before that if they were to actually reach out to all of their customers among their 5 reps, each customer would only get about 27 minutes a year.
Mm-hmm.
And so this will be a huge boon to get them pointed in the right direction on one of the important customers.
It'll help us to highly leverage our sales reps.
And then the clustering will only advance that. And so step 1 will be, we use this to classify incoming customers. Step 2 will be an Amazon style, recommendation. You've bought this, customers like you have bought this, you should buy this, which will only serve to increase revenues further. And yeah, so that's the gist of what we've got in our scope right now.
So I think that's it. So any questions?
Time for 1 or 2.
So I think you kind of answered this a little bit already with Dr. Survey. How are you guys can handle do not contacts?
So with a do not contact, like specifically a do not contact.
Unsubscribe.
Yeah. So a couple of things to drill in on that. I don't know if we were clear on. It's a 100% manual process from the generation of the email template to its sending.
Right.
So we're purely making just the recommendation, and then a sales rep can opt to send that message or not. So that's one layer of filtering to make sure that it is an actual organic interaction between our company, which is very important with the customer. As far as a do not contact mechanism, that would be implemented roughly using the same interface of saying, hey, we don't want to reach out to this customer or this account for another N days, right? And we would set that to a sufficiently high value to qualify as never, which would end up providing an elegant and effective mechanism of ignoring that customer in future queries. So that's that component.
Any other questions?
All right, thanks. Got up to 5 viewers at the end. Not bad. Not bad.
5 viewers.
Online.
Yes.
Price the max so far.
Awesome.
One more.
Doing well. To be pleased, I got to use some of the stuff that we covered in your class today. Yeah, we had a potential breach that I had to address, and turns out that was one of our developers being really, really dumb. But
not malicious.
Not malicious, no. But he decided the easiest way to work with our server was to install a PHP script that let him do code execution. And I found it and started yelling at people, but it took me a month. Wow. Anyway.
That's amazing.
Yeah, really excited.
You sticking around? I didn't even.
I'm sticking around or maybe, but I'll stick around.
Thanks for coming.
We've got Maria and
Hillary and Maria.
The last one. One more.
One more. Questions?
How are you?
Thanks so much.
Hey.
Come on in. Do you want an HDMI or VGA?
VGA, please.
Okay, so you're gonna be over here, just on the regular.
I did see the Facebook post. Everybody, come to this room.
And Hillary, here's a pointer slash answer.
Oh,
Yeah. This week.
Is ready for this? Ready?
Yeah, that's true.
do we start like anytime?
Yeah, as soon as you're ready, and then you'll have 20 to 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Run through.
Okay.
And you have 5 online right now, so say hello to the world.
What?
Ever since the beginning, we've been saluting the world.
I'm not
Can you
good.
make it?
Yeah. Hillary's a little bit slow with technology.
Yeah.
See, this, I've been telling people, this is the real test.
This is the real one.
Little crazy action going on.
Trying to stuff up the competition.
Yes. This is the first prison presentation of the year. We have happened in past years.
Is that a thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing. I love present. I don't know if you're displaying it. I just don't put it. You might just mirror your displays.
I don't know. How do I mirror?
If you
the
just,
mirror?
in the search bar there, at least over here, you can just click on displays.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, just tap on display. Click on display, or arrangements. Displays. Oh, you guys just made a record. 7 online now.
Okay. Could we get the light?
Yeah, so there's a light switch right there. It looks a little dark, but it actually works out pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And especially if you'll stand up closer to the table a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you guys for all being here today. We're really excited to present what we've done this semester with you guys. I'm Hillary and this is Maria, and here is Cyber IQ. So we're just gonna go over our agenda really quick. We're gonna talk about our problem and how Cyber IQ addresses our problem. Then we're gonna touch on our 3 phases that we did this semester. And then we'll talk about where Cyber IQ is going and the lessons that we've learned. So the problem that we have is that, as many of you know, teenagers are getting introduced to technology and are having technology at earlier ages. And so the problem with this is that they don't know how to stay safe with these new technologies that they have at their hands. So the solution that we came up with is Cyber IQ. And basically our mission for Cyber IQ is to enable teens everywhere to establish safe, lifelong online habits. This may look pretty familiar to some of you guys because it was a project from last year that was started by Sean, Julie, and Devin, who are tuning in. And what they did is they kind of got this initiative started, and they designed the website. Many of you probably contributed to the content that they helped put on the site. And yeah, so this year we wanted to really get the website out to the teenagers and reach them and have this be a resource that they would use, because what's a good resource if it's not used? So Maria's going to go ahead and talk about our phase 1, which is web development.
So phase 1, the web. So Some of you might have accessed CyberIQ before today, and you would know that the site was non-existent. Dr. Anderson can testify of this. It was like not loading. And without the website, we could not have CyberIQ. So our main focus at the beginning was to have a website. So we improved performance and speed. So now we even tested it so that it can allow tons of viewers up to like 10,000, what was it? Yeah, just in case we become super famous. And then in regards to design and content, so once the website's up and running, in regards to design and content, we decided to target teens more with better user design. So we did three things: relatable scenarios, adding images, and key terms. So first of all, this is the QR code of our site if you want to scan it and follow with us, or we can just show you here. But before I go show you the website, we want to talk about the images. We used Blair Lehman now. She helped us, she's a graphic designer from the information systems major, and she helped us design images to put in our site so that we could target teens better. For example, that one right there, that's sexting. So, it's a little bit funny. So, this targets more teens. So we can go right now and go to the demo of CyberIQ. So this is our site. This is our site. It looks really different from, this is mobile version, I guess. It's responsive web design for like, for some reason I can't click on it. Let's see.
Yeah, I think it's the low quality projector here.
Yeah, okay, here. So first of all, we decided to update our blog constantly. So for the last days, we've been uploading something every day. One of the approaches that we took with this was to create a toolkit. And every day we post about a tool that are free online, like Compass, my last search. And we created a PDF file with the instructions and things that the teens can download and implement in their computers. It's simple and self-explanatory for them. So by keeping the blog post up to date, we just increase the interest of the teens. Now, in regards to each of the topics that I was just talking about, for example, here, this is the relatable scenario I was talking about. So most of the teens do not know what malware is. So how do we get them to know what it is? So these ideas came from focus groups with the teenagers. So we come and tell them, have you been innocent? Have this ever happened? Has this ever happened to you? So have you been innocently stalking your friends on Facebook when tons of ads show up and your computer goes crazy? Well, this is called malware. Hence, the reason you should keep reading this tutorial, right? So this is where we include our image. It displays differently in the web version, but then we'll give them a little idea of the content, what the tutorial is about, and then key terms so that they can click on them and easily find out what the definitions are. For each topic, we have these sections. How does this affect me? How do I protect myself? Things to remember and resources. All of them, we focused on changing the font size, the colors, and the display, the long body text that teenagers are not going to read. They told us that bullet point lists work better. So maybe we can see an example here, see with more images and things. And one of the things we really focused about was these things to remember tab. We straightforward added do's and don'ts, because research says that you can remember things better if you have 2 to 3 things about every single thing. So this is straightforward, 4 things they can think of, 2 to 3 things on each do's and don'ts. And that's about it in regards to what we modified for the website. Now Hilary is going to talk about the second phase, which was the videos.
Yeah, so a lot of the feedback that we got from our focus groups and from talking to teenagers, parents, and teachers is that videos would be a really great way to help get the teenagers interested and keep their attention. And then we also did the videos because, if it's going to be on the first page of each topic, so if the teenagers just want to get a really brief idea of what each topic is about, they can go and watch the video rather than looking at all the content that we have. So if you want to scan the QR code, it's linked up with our YouTube channel, so you can subscribe and follow along with our infographics, which are going to be coming out about every 2 weeks. So we first did an intro video, and the intro video features 2 students, Tanan and Antonio, and we wanted them to be really personable to help connect with the teenagers so that it gets them interested. So we're going to go ahead and watch this first intro video that introduces Cyber IQ and what our goals are with the infographics.
Do you have your audio plugged in?
Oh, shoot.
Oh, it's okay.
Internet. But we'd like to offer you, you're a master of the internet. Well, welcome to Cyber IQ. Cyber IQ is a place for teenagers of all ages, just like you, to come and learn how to stay safe online. We know you're a master of the internet, but we'd like to offer you some tips on how to stay even safer.
Over the next few months, Cyber IQ will be coming out with a series of videos with a variety of different topics. Please subscribe to cyberiq.org or our YouTube channel linked below. You do that, and we'll keep you updated on when these videos are released.
Here are a few topics that you can expect to see. Antivirus, passwords, locking devices, phishing, not that one, Tanan.
Like what?
Stay tuned and you'll find out, among others.
Your generation is taking over the world. Just imagine someone watching this video right now could be the next big boss in Silicon Valley. Understanding how to stay safe online is the first step to ensure your success and secure your path to the top.
Help us help you succeed and beat the bad guys. Spread the word and follow us along this journey. If you want to know more, go to www.cyberiq.org.
So yeah, they are going to be the people that are walking the teens through each of the infographics, and we're going to take a look at one of the infographics right now as well.
Have you ever been sitting at your computer the night before your English paper is due when boom, ads start flying all over the place and you can't even see your Spark notes anymore? If this has ever happened to you, you have probably been a victim of a malware attack. Malware can show up in many forms, but in any form, it is annoying.
Not only will it run rampant through your computer, but it will also make it very difficult to accomplish any task. It could also disable your antivirus, send interesting emails to your friends from your own account, and other frustrating things. To find out how to prevent these things from happening, visit the link below.
So yeah, and then on our YouTube channel, obviously the links will be provided below. But so these are some of the videos this is just a glimpse at one of the videos that we're going to be doing. We have 10 topics, and so we're going to do a video for each of the topics. We wanted to say thank you to the Rollins Entrepreneurship Center, specifically Dr. Little, specifically Kyle Longhurst, who has been amazing and who has helped us produce these videos. None of this would have been possible without you guys. So now Maria is going to talk about marketing.
Would you just undo that audio?
So phase number 3 of our project was marketing and actually getting the word out there about Cyber IQ. So these are all the multiple stages of this phase. They're events that we held to increase the awareness of Cyber IQ. So the first one is social media. With the technology wave these days comes social media. We decided to keep active on the social media sites with Cyber IQ. So these are Facebook, Twitter, on our email account. We post about events, news, facts, tutorials, interesting ideas, things that keep the teens coming back. We also post about where Hillary and I have been going to teach about things and multiple resources that keep teens coming back. So you're more than welcome to access these sites at any time.
Another thing that we want to do with marketing was to get out in our community and volunteer. And so one of the things that we did was SheTech. And SheTech was an event that was held at UVU. There were about 900 girls that came to this event. And it was cool because we were mentors for them, but really we just walked around with them and got to hang out with them, got to know what kind of things they liked, and we got to talk about Cyber IQ. So they got to check it out, and we got some really positive feedback from them, and it was a good experience.
This event was really interesting. So the BYU does a career fair to recruit professors to all the U.S. districts schools. So we went to the Wilkinson Center and we printed about 100 of these little posters, flyers, and we distributed to all the schools in the U.S. So our speech was like, you may not be interested about us, I'm not a teacher or anything, but let me talk to you about Cyber IQ. It's my capstone project, and the idea is that we create this awareness around the US about educating teens on staying safe online now that technology is so available. So the response that we got from all the schools abroad and the number of viewers that increased after this event was amazing. We just have so many more people getting to know about Cyber IQ, not only here in Utah, but nationally.
So another thing that we did, this is a big part of what we focused on for this semester, was going out to the school districts and actually teaching teens. So we went into classrooms. We went to Dixon Middle School, Centennial Middle School, and Provo High School. We taught classes from 7th to 12th grade, and they were about 80-minute periods, and we taught a variety of topics. We asked the professors what they wanted us to teach. We asked the students what they wanted to learn about, and then we just kind of threw in whatever we thought was best. So we talked about passwords, phishing, scams, just how to be safe with browsers. So it was a really good experience, and we actually got to learn a lot and take away from this a lot because we gave them the opportunity to ask us any question they wanted. So we had to be up to date on all of our security knowledge, so we could share it with them. Something great that came out of this, we have this Teens Teaching Teens initiative, which I'll talk a little bit more about later, and essentially just, teens teaching their peers how to be safe online. That's eventually where we hope to be. So we were able to grab the email addresses and contact information of some teens that are interested in helping us to move this program along. And again, I'll talk about it a little bit later, but this was a really great experience too.
This is another thing that we did to try to go nationally. So we went to the Women in Cybersecurity Conference in Atlanta. The way it worked was you submit your project idea, your research, and only 2 groups from BYU got selected, one in the IT department about a malware class or something, and Cyber IQ. So they gave us a 30 by 40 poster, which looks like this, and we were able to put in there all the ideas of our project, our research, and present it to all the people who are related, that have security in their companies, which is pretty much all of them. But some of the companies that I can think of was Facebook, the CIA, the FBI was in this conference. We got feedback from all these people about possible things that we can do. There's a website that the government currently has, Stop Think Connect, but they say people don't use it, so maybe we can partner with them. They just provide us with feedback, and this is another thing we did to try to expand Cyber IQ. Before Hillary talks about this one, I have to admit that when we first took this project, I was a little bit skeptical. I'm like, the website does not load. It is not there. Like, are you sure we want to do this? And Hillary kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and I never knew why. She's like, Maria, we have to do Cyber IQ last semester. And I am so glad, because of what she's going to talk right now, that she pushed so hard for me to do it. So.
So I kind of have a personal investment in this project. I was involved in a scam, and I was able to use some of the skills that I've learned in my information systems classes to figure out what was going on with the scam and find 11 other people that I know of that were involved in the scam as well. And so it's been cool because I've been able to go and interview with, I started with the Daily Universe, and it's, as you can see, gone national. You can see Cyber IQ featured on Dr. Phil a little bit later this month. But it was great to share a positive experience that came out of this, and to be able to go in and teach teens how to be safe online and to not fall victim of these things.
The number of views that this has increased, like our side has increased so much, and that's why we had to actually do some load balancing on our side. After Dr. Phil, we're hoping our site stays up and running. Okay, and finally we decided to go international. So I'm from Colombia. I went to school in Colombia. Why not take CyberIQ to the high schools in Colombia? So I reached out to principals down there, and this is one of the schools who reached back. It's called Marymount, and they posted in their website an article. They told us to write an article in Spanish. Hillary wrote the article in her Spanish, and we posted it, and they also incorporated that in the curriculum and of their technology classes. So yeah, the thing is, Colombia is a third world country. They're incorporating more technology in their classes and things. And the principal expressed interest on CyberIQ because she said that it would be great to add to the technology some lessons to educate teens so that they stay safe online. So hopefully we can keep reaching out. I'm going to Colombia after I graduate, so hopefully I can go there and teach personally in those schools. Hopefully that's what we're planning on with CyberIQ moving forward too. So yes.
So that's all that we've done this semester. And now I bet you're wondering, where do we go from here? So we've got a lot of feedback this semester, especially at the conference that we went to in Atlanta. And these are some of the things that we want to highlight that we are hoping to accomplish going forward. So we want to continue to keep the website up to date. There were lots of things that the teens suggested that we do with the site to make it more appealing. And obviously there's always more content that we could add to make it better. And this Teen Teaching Teens Club, so that's, this is what we really want to do and what we're really hoping to get at. We want to start a club in high schools where teens can go and learn about how to stay safe online together. So we're going to work with those contacts that we have and with some of the teachers that we've reached out to try to get this club going. And yeah, we're really excited about that. Incorporate gaming. That's something we hope to do. We want to reach out to other audiences like seniors, or as Maria calls them,
grandma and grandpa. You know, they're definitely a different audience that you have to target differently than teens. So hopefully we can expand to get to that level too.
Yeah, and then their parents as well. So we have potential candidates. Shelly and Lauren are here today, and we hope that we can pass it on to them and that they can use some of their skills to make it even better.
Yes, and before we conclude, we just want to talk about lessons learned. We learned that websites are difficult to maintain and they're unreliable, so you have to keep working on them every day, every single time, so that they don't unexpectedly fail. But they didn't today. Next thing, teens are a tough crowd to teach. First of all, they're too cool for everything and nothing applies to them. It was really hard to, and this goes with this lesson, adapting to different audiences, being able to interact with the teens, meet with them in focus groups and understand how they think. It's so different from what we think, and we're only like 3 years, I mean, most of us 3 years more somewhere away from them, but they think totally different from us, and it's unbelievable how much you can learn from these things. So that's another lesson. Then marketing is a continual effort, at least until we get CyberIQ on people's minds. We noticed that with the stages on that phase 3 that we talked about, when we did those, our viewers added, and many things started happening, and you would see movement with CyberIQ. But if we stop for a little bit because we're focusing in content or something, it'll just stop. So while we get the word out there, marketing has to be constant. It's important to stay current on security practices because it changes so much and teens are going to be learning really fast. So that's important. And then finally, as you saw, we used Lee as a resource to decrease our learning curve, make learning faster with some technologies that they're good at. We use Kyle as well. So keep connections and relationships because it just can help things be done quicker, especially with CyberIQ. Instead of focusing on one thing, we can start moving on the next one if we just use resources wisely. And that's about it. Oh, and then we have this video, which is our major accomplishment to show that teenagers actually learned something and remembered some of the things we said. Oh, video.
CyberIQ, like the letter I or the letter
IQ,
Q?
yeah.
Okay, cool.
One of the most important things I learned was that don't just give out your information to anyone on there, even if it's just simple, like, you know, your name or where you live.
I think one of the most important things that you can learn from it is that passwords need to be protected when you have them. You don't want to keep them just anywhere. You don't want to keep them online sources where other people can get to them. And you don't want to use the same passwords a lot. You want to have strong passwords.
Thank you, CyberIQ, for helping me be safe online by making stronger passwords.
I learned from CyberIQ just to be safe online and not to click on some bad ads that just pops up.
Thank you, CyberIQ, for helping me not trust anyone online.
These are the things that are possible with browser.
And see, I'm going to show you here how I can see all of these passwords that are saved in the browser. Because I love shopping online, I usually take a look at the SSL on the browser.
I also learned that you should make sure you don't have autofill settings on, because some websites can read those and without you even knowing, and take down your information without your consent or you.
Because if you have it, there's lots of things that different people can get into that have your information and maybe your bank or anything like that. And so you don't really want people getting into your stuff.
Anyone trying to steal from them there, they don't understand.
CyberIQ is a great resource to learn about online security.
I did.
Yeah, I think CyberIQ is a really cool program.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And a lot of people today can learn a lot from it.
There's just so many traps out there that can keep us from being safe.
Yeah, I think it's a really important thing, especially now in such a digital age, that everybody uses the internet so much in their everyday life. And so it's a really important thing to understand how to be safe, especially with things like passwords or just everyday internet use.
Because most kids my age, we just use social media and we don't understand that there's like really big threats out there. We don't know how to tell if it is or not, and we're not safe.
I love CyberIQ.
I think CyberIQ is better than anything. Thank you, CyberIQ.
Thanks, CyberIQ, for keeping me safe online.
Thank you, CyberIQ.
CyberIQ is most excellent.
Thank you, CyberIQ, for keeping my kids safe.
And that's it. That's all we have. Do we have any questions?
How'd you select your actors, Antonio and Kenan?
You know what? As I said, it's all connections and networking. I met Antonio. My freshman year, I got interviewed for BYU something golf related, and he happened to be the person with the microphone asking the questions. And I just remember this was back in 2010, and I just remember him being very outgoing, and we kept a friendship since then. And then Tanan, she is one of my teammates' friends who I just talked to my team, and I'm like, "Do you know someone?" And she's like, "I have this outgoing girl." And the connection between these two people when they first met each other, I mean, it's their free time that they're volunteering to spend with us. And I mean, not a single complaint, nothing. They were on time to everything. So it was amazing that they did that for us. Yeah. Any other questions, thoughts, comments, concerns?
So this comment about the website never being up.
Yes.
Is it going to be up when Dr. Phil hits it?
Yeah, we did.
Is it,
You can talk
I
about
mean,
that.
what's your plan and kind of background behind that? Are you doing the analytics on the site right now and like Google Analytics? And if you're not, I would strongly suggest doing that before that airs because you likely will get probably tens of thousands of hits.
Right, yeah. So they said that Dr. Phil has about 7 to 10 million viewers.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. But we've been working with Sean. He's actually been doing a lot of the load testing and a lot of the analytics stuff. So we've been working with him. He's been helping out a ton. So yeah, as we said, we did some load testing and we're planning on doing some more before the show airs.
We are fully aware of it, and we've been doing load testing. Yes. And Google Analytics is in there too.
What's your average visitor rate per month?
Well, you know, we did go from 0 and 10 viewers to
Yeah.
200 to 300 right now. Today, actually, I think we made a record. For some reason today, CyberIQ is just very famous.
Peaking at the right time, right?
Yeah, 300 viewers, it's something, it's better.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
What happened to the website last year? Because last year at this time it worked
great.
Yeah.
The wiki. The wiki people, something happened, but it like took down our server and it was a sad day. But so we had to go in there and we had to completely wipe out everything, redo our server and reinstall WordPress.
And you're still hosted here locally, right?
Yep, yeah.
Did you still have any of the content from last year?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all the content's still there, so we were able to save that. We just had to go take out all of the nonsense.
Whole infrastructure thing, right?
Yes, yes.
Yep.
Very good. Any other questions? All right, great. Thanks so much. Good job. And that's a wrap, I think, on our capstone presentations this year. What amazing presentations. Great work by everyone. Great job.
Is this yours?
What's that?
Is yours?
It is. Thank you. All right. See you, Internet.